The saying goes, and I think there is a lot of truth to it, don't wait to be happy until you're grateful, but practice gratefulness and you will discover yourself to be happy. And research actually proves this. If you take a journal and write 3 things you're grateful for every evening or every morning or during one day, once every day for 30 days, you will notice a difference in your life. How do I know? Well, I tried it. It works. It makes a difference. What are you grateful for? Keep a record of it. And that's why I think it works. Part of it is what we focus on, what we give our energy to, what we pay attention to. That has an impact on us. It's almost like something comes back to what we focus on. So, and that is part of our choice, that we can focus on and what we do focus on. It makes a difference and it shapes you. Now, often, you may not feel like doing it. It's sometimes, I imagine, how people who have arthritis very badly and who are hurting, how it's challenging for them to get moving. And what is the best therapy, the best thing you can do for arthritis, except trying to alleviate the pain a little bit? Well, get moving, get going. You may not feel like it, but sitting back and not moving doesn't help it. So where and how are you and we all invited to get moving in spite of the pain, in spite of the frustration, in spite of what we're surrounded by, counting some of those blessings, moving into it, and act yourself into a new reality. I think that is exactly what Paul suggested when he writes to the congregation in Philippi. He says, rejoice always, pray without ceasing, give thanks in all circumstances. Give thanks in all circumstances. So, do you see it? Focus on what in this circumstance, what is one thing you're grateful for? What is one thing that still can come from this? What is the one thing that you can do about it, even if there are many things you cannot do anything about, even if there are things you throw up your hands about and think like, I'm lost, this is really beyond me. But what in any and every situation is an invitation for? What is that invitation and that call for? I love this poem by Rumi. It's called The Guest House. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat every guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each one has been sent as a guide from beyond. I think one of the best things you and I can do is to stay with it rather than run from it. The old adage or the saying goes, what you resist persists. What you run from will haunt you. Whatever you fight becomes stronger. The other medicine comes from our great healer, from Jesus, who says, you know what? It's very human to worry. And that's why Jesus says this, do not worry. Well, why would he say do not worry? Well, because people worry. People worry. You and I, it's in our bones. We do worry, whether it's health or money or care or being lost or feeling sad, whatever. Just add yourself to the humanity list of people who worry. It's normal, it's human. But what Jesus says is, when you worry, go outside. Look at the geese. Look at the cloud formations. Walk by the river. Pay attention to the cardinals. There is something about the cathedral of the outdoors when you pay attention, when you're aware. There is something it does for your soul. So Jesus says, when you're too caught up, when you're too worried, too much anxiety, too restricted, too caught up, just go outside and look at the creation, at the beauty. And if you and I, when we pay attention, there is always something we can be surprised by. So thinking about Thanksgiving that is coming this week, yes, it's around the corner. What does Thanksgiving hold for you and for me? And it may be a little bit of both. It may be the joy, the celebration of going home or having someone come home and be together. But it can also hold the pain. And the holidays are some of the hardest ones. When someone died, gathering around the table where my partner died, where my mother died, where someone is really missing. What do we do with that? There is an old tradition of having an empty seat at the table. It goes back ages to the Old Testament, the idea that is Elijah's chair, or Jesus' chair, or the chair of the person whom you are missing most at your table. I find that a beautiful way to make room and space, a place for that person to be present, even if that person is not present physically. And then you may even have a conversation in your heart for yourself and say, I miss you. It's not the same. I wish you would be here. Maybe you may even make room and think of what would the other person respond or say or wish or hope for you as you gather around the table. And thus, something may develop. You see the wisdom of, if you resist it, if you try to push it out, it persists, it doesn't go away. If you run from it, it's coming back, it's haunting you. If you fight it, it's becoming stronger. So with Jesus, with Rumi, make space, make room, and invite it in and stay and sit with it rather than running from it. And there is this beautiful story. Long ago in India, a king ruled the land. Always by his side was his minister, who was known for his wisdom, but also for a very strange habit that often annoyed the king. For no matter what happened, he always responded by saying, "That is good. That is good." One day, the king was out hunting when his horse was startled by a large snake. The king was thrown off the horse and dragged some distance. In the process, his leg was deeply cut and he lost a toe. As the minister knelt beside the king and examined the damage, he said, "That is good. That is good." Well, the king didn't like that. "How can you say that is good?" the king screamed, outraged. "What kind of minister are you? You are dismissed, you're fired." "That is good," said the minister. "That is good." And off he took, went to the castle, and packed his belongings and left. Now the king returned home. His leg, his foot healed, and he was out hunting again one day. This time, he became separated from the people who were hunting with him. And suddenly he was ambushed by a tribal people who lived near those woods. He was tied up and taken back to the village. Now, these tribal people had the custom to sacrifice their prisoners, the king in this case, to their god. They prepared him for the sacrifice, washing and decorating him. And the celebration began with music and dancing as he was led to the slaughtering place just like a goat. The king shook in terror. He nearly fainted when the priest came toward him with a long knife. The priest danced around him, inspecting him from head to toe from every angle. And suddenly the priest motioned, "Stop the music. This one is not good. He has been cut." He pointed to the missing toe. We cannot sacrifice to God something that has already been cut. The priest slashed the vines around the king's hands and legs and let him go free. The king limped back to the palace and as quickly as he could. And once he was back safely at his palace, the king remembered his minister and he called for him. He told him the story and said, "You were right. It was good that my toe was cut, that I lost it. Because of it, I was not sacrificed by the tribal people. But why did you say, 'This is good,' when I fired you from your post?" The minister said, "There is always something good to come out of these things, Your Highness. If I had not been fired, I would have been with you that day when you were captured by the tribal people. Because I have all my toes, I would have been next in line to be sacrificed." "You are truly right, my friend," said the king. "That was good. That was good indeed. And so is your wisdom. You shall advise me always." And he did. And it was good.